then these are the shortcuts that can help. Welcome to the Wealth Creation Podcast. And welcome everybody, it's Dan. Hope you're well today. So welcome to the Business Growth Show, and in today's session I want to talk about search engine optimization, because I think it's really important that people understand the importance of SEO. And you know what, for the last 20 years, almost every year, almost every week of every year, somebody somewhere has been going, oh, search engine optimization doesn't really count, it's not that important anymore, it's the death of SEO. And it's completely not true. It's so untrue. Like, we get a lot of traffic from Google and Bing and I don't know, Yahoo. Does that still exist? We still get a lot of traffic from search engines, and especially for localized search engines. So, like, you know, our business is based in Leeds, really, and so we get a lot of high rankings for whatever the search term is, and then the location. And so obviously that drives traffic. They go through the sales process on the sales funnel, and they end up in a strategy session with me, and then we close them as clients. And so from kind of cradle to grave, the SEO process is really, really valuable in your business, but it can take some time. And so people tend not to spend any time on it because they're too impatient. And it's kind of crazy if you ask me, because if you think about it, if you'd have done this 2 years ago, your patience would have come through. You would have been getting those search engine results. And I'm also not saying it takes 2 years, because we know it doesn't. We can upload a brand new page, and either the same day, the next day, or the day after, we can get onto first page of Google. So it doesn't have to take a huge amount of time, but there's certain things that you need to be doing on your website that's really going to help you. And I do remember one of the guys, when we used to run a lettings agency many, many years ago in 2011, gosh, we sold that nearly 15 years ago. And I was stood outside the Queen's Hotel, and the guy said, wherever I went on the internet, that's where you were. And that line has stayed with me all this time, because we ranked really well. We had, I can't remember the numbers, I think, was it 30,000? I think it was 35,000 people a day. 35,000 people a month hitting our website. That's just a phenomenal. You know, imagine 1,000 people running through your shop. Like, you're going to sell some stuff, right? And we did. We sold, you know, it was a lettings agency, so we sold rental properties. We rented rental properties. But all the developments in Leeds, we were number one. You know, Aspect 14, which was a development, a really popular development for people coming in from the Far East, or the Middle East, I should say. From like Kuwait and Dubai and all around those areas, we were ranked number one for that, and I think we were getting something like 25 hits a day just off that one development. And think about all the other developments, property developments that were in Leeds. It's significant, and we were getting a lot of traffic just because of search engine optimization. So it's definitely not dead. It's definitely something that you should be looking to implement in your business. And if you're not doing that right now, in 6 months, a year, 2 years, your competitors who have started doing that are going to start taking business away from you, and that's not what we want. We want you guys to be ranked number one on Google, or certainly first page of Google. And one of the other things I just want to say on that, I don't believe you have to be on first page of Google. Yeah, the top 3 get 70% of all the searches, right? But I go to page 10 on Google looking for something, because often the search engine results that you get, you know, if I want a really good example is a drain cleaner. You know, I've got a block drain and, you know, a manhole cover type drain, not like a sink, but like a manhole cover, and I need to get Dyna-Rod or a drainage company out. If you go and do that on Google right now, you're going to get loads of national companies, and these are lead generation companies. We're going to charge you like 200 quid, where you could get it for 100 quid if you went to a local business, right? So because they dominate the first page of Google, I never use those. So I go to the second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth page of Google, because I know that they're the more local companies and they're the cheaper companies. And so it's just typical, isn't it, Lucy? It's just typical, isn't it? We go get the Amazon delivery. My daughter's at home today. If you get stuck, ask. My daughter's at home today. We've got an Amazon delivery. It always happens when you're going live. So you shouldn't worry about the fact that your search engine results are on page 10, you want to get them to page 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, all the way up to page 1. And there's certain things that you can do in order to do that. But even if you just end up on page 10, I think that's totally fine. So let's crack on then. Let's talk about keyword research. Keyword research is so important. Thank you, Lithia. It's so important, and it's also really dull, right? But the thing I really want to kind of get to you here is that it's really important for you to do. And when we speak to clients and we go, what would someone type on Google to find your business? And they go, Smith & Jones Plumbing. People don't know you exist. What would people type to find you on? Plumbing by Smith & Jones. It's like, no. Like, what are people typing? If you live in East Ardsley, which is just outside Wakefield, and you need a plumber, you're going to type East Ardsley plumbers, right? So, obviously. I think that's obvious. But the competition for that term is huge, enormous. And so, we want to rank for that, but that's going to prove more challenging because, like I say, you're going to have all these bigger companies that are nationwide that are generating leads, and that's how they make the business. So that's who you're up against. You're not going to really get such a top key phrase and get to the top of Google because the competition's so high. Having said that, if you've got a Worcester, or let's say Bosch, because I know how to say Bosch. Let's say you've got a Bosch boiler and you need it fixing, and you typed Bosch boiler repairs East Ardsley, that's what we would call a long tail keyword. You think about a whale and the humpback whale and its tail. The hump is all the really top popular keywords, which may be 2 or 3 words. The long tail keywords, Bosch boiler repair East Ardsley, is that 5 words? That's what you want to be ranking for. And that's some low-hanging fruit. That's some stuff that you can rank for really easily. The problem with it is, like just off that keyword, Bosch boiler repair East Ardsley. So how many types of boilers are there? Let's say there's 10. So there's 10 pages right there. So that can take a bit of time to do. But that's all right. You just create 1 page a week. And you change up the content within that page. And you upload that to your website. And then for every different type of boiler, now you're going to start ranking on Google on probably page 1 or 2 because it's such a long tail keyword that other people aren't focused on. And so then the question is, well, are people actually typing that in? And we don't know until you do the work. So you do one keyword, pick the most popular boiler, and then let's say it's Bosch boiler repairs East Ardsley, and then you look to see how much traffic you got. And if you're getting 10 hits a week, I think that's pretty good. That means 10 people have got that problem every week in East Ardsley. That's pretty good. That's 40 a month. Even if it's just 10 a month, I still think that's good. You've got 10 opportunities there to get that person to pick up the phone and get a call out. But once you know that one works, then you can do all the other boiler manufacturer names. Do you see how that works? So when we first did it for the property developments in Leeds, we did Aspect 14 probably first because I had 4 properties in there. I've since sold them all. We completed all of those this year actually, which is really good. Getting out of being a property investor. But we tested that strategy and that process on that keyword, and it happened to work really well. And so every time we opened up a new lettings agency office, and we had Sheffield and Manchester and even one in Southampton, we got a list of all the developments and we created content around those developments. Now, does it take time? Of course it takes time. But that's all right. It's a slow burn. But you should be, if you'd have started that slow burn, like we say, 5 years ago, you would be getting the results now. If you'd have started it 2 years ago, you would be getting results now. If you started it 6 months ago, you'd be getting results now. And if you start today, in 3 to 6 months, you'll start getting some results. It's so important to begin that process. And people put it off because nobody's got patience anymore. Everybody wants it now. No, Dan, you don't understand. I need sales now. And that's, no, I get that. Run some pay-per-click. If you don't know how to do that, hit us up. We can help you do that. But at the same time as running pay-per-click, you also want to be running some SEO type work. So let's talk about on-page SEO. There's some really important things here. So if you use like WordPress, there's a little bit of software called Yoast. It's a WordPress plugin. And the idea on Yoast is that you get, it uses green, red, and amber. And if it's all green, it should rank. In theory, that's how it works. In reality, that's not how it works. But it's a halfway step to moving you closer to getting your SEO results. If you want to really get the SEO results, you really need to know how it works, and that's why you'll see the link below. We've got the link for the training course that we have. So the on-page SEO is really, really important. When we're talking about all these different pages and different pieces of content that you're going to create, I'm going to talk about content a little bit lower, as you can see over here. Content that search engines love. But when you start writing that content, some of the things that are within that content, including, for example, how many times a keyword is used, how many different types of similar keywords are used. So if it's boiler repairs, let's just say, is there a different word for boiler, like water heater? Is water heater and boiler synonymous with each other? Absolutely. Do you think Google understands synonyms? Yes, it does. And so if you're just going boiler repair East Ardsley and you have that 50 million times in that piece of text, Google's going to go spam, and it's going to move you down the search engine rankings. But if you have boiler repair East Ardsley and you have East Ardsley water heater, in whatever context that can be used, you know, it has to read like a human, right? Because Google will look at that and go, this is not written for humans, it's written for search engines. So you've got to get that in place as well. But if you can get that in place and understand what all of the technical SEO basics actually are when you're writing your content, that will give you a much greater opportunity to get your content found on first, second or third page of Google. So important. And then the next bit that's really important, of course, is the off-page SEO. Well, what is off-page SEO? So if you've got a web page and it's called Boiler Repairs, Bosch Boiler Repairs East Ardsley, if that's the key phrase that we're playing with, what's the off-page? Like, you can do loads of work on the on-page, you know, meta tags on the images, alt tags on the images, I should say, title tags, outbound links, all that technical stuff is really, really useful. But what about the off-page stuff? Like, what about inbound links? And where are they coming from? And what about spammy inbound links? What do you do with them? And it's all in the training course, right? You need to understand the types of off-page SEO that will help get your website ranked. And then once you understand it, then you can spend the time focusing on that, because now you know how to do it instead of guessing. And guessing on SEO will probably harm your website much more than help your website. Because if you don't know what you don't know, how do you know what to do? I'll say that again because it's a bit confusing. If you don't know what you don't know, how do you know what you're supposed to do? Well, you don't, do you? And so this is where education and knowledge comes in. You know, throughout my life, I've gone on so many training courses, 52. And I still go on lots and lots of training courses. And these days, because I've been on so many, the stuff I learn now is less on every training course, because I've probably already learnt it at some point. Learning, however, isn't enough, of course, and we know that, and you have to implement it, but it's a good first step. Because when you know actually what off-page SEO is, and you actually spend the time working on off-page SEO, all the work that you've then done on the on-page SEO for all those pages you've now created, they will then start increasingly getting ranked because of the off-page SEO work. It's vitally important that you understand that. And then just finally on improving your SEO results, writing content that search engines love. And let me give you some examples here. Search engines like content that's readable. Okay, the average age that you should be writing your content for is about 9. If you can get a 9-year-old to read your content and they actually understand the content, you'll work really well and get some really good results. One of the problems that we see a lot of people doing, like in sales calls, we do this as well, by the way. We use all this fancy technical jargon and we make it sound like we're really clever. The average person doesn't understand what you're talking about. They just think you sound like a bit of a dick. So you've got to really dumb down the language and the wording that you're using and make it an easy to read article. And when you are writing the content, every word and every sentence and every paragraph should be a sales process to get them to read the next paragraph and the next paragraph and the next paragraph, so they end up reading the entire page. Because one of the things that Google looks at is time spent on site and time spent on a page. And the longer that someone spends on a page, the more Google is going to rank your website. And this is some of the off-page SEO stuff. That's why this stuff is really important. But also learning the types of content that search engines love and learning how to write that type of content. Instead of just going, okay, I'm just going to go to ChatGPT, I'm going to get it to write loads of content, and I'm just going to copy and paste it, stick it on a website. Like, that might be working right now, but that's not going to work in 6 months. And we've seen this. We've seen a lot of people get some really good results from that. And those results didn't last long. Because as soon as ChatGPT comes out, Google's like, oh no, that's just written by ChatGPT. No, we don't like that. So yeah, we get some easy wins. And some of these, and I'm sure you've had emails. We get them on LinkedIn and we get emails. We can give you 800 extra leads. We had one last week. We can get you 800 extra leads from SEO. And we know that they're just using ChatGPT and they're just going to spam your website. Like, definitely don't use those people. These overseas, they're in little shoe boxes, and it is like high quantity stuff, very low quality stuff, and it's just going to harm your website, and all that other work that you've done and all that other money that you spent on marketing is going to be hindered because of going down through these lowball SEO type agencies. If you want to use an SEO agency, come to us and we'll do it properly for you. But there's nothing like learning how to do it yourself. And so if you click the link down below, you can actually find out how to do that. Alright, I hope you find that useful. Let me know if you do. If you've got any questions, stick them in the comments and I'll see them later on today. Other than that, I hope you have a wicked day. Take care. Hey, it's Dan here. Thank you for listening. Really appreciate each and every one of you. Please click like.